Going on 2 million views on YouTube. It's like, oh, you hit it. Yeah, mashallah. There's nothing left. You just
That's it.
you drove it in.
Target's gone.
That's nice.
It feels really different with this.
With
feel?
ring,
Yeah.
you have less control with the ring. People
Yeah.
think you will get more control with the ring. I don't teach people with the ring for the first 3-4 lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Don't touch a ring.
Yeah.
Turks originally, they have 3 levels or 4 levels of archery.
Yeah.
So the Ottomans, they were a meritocratic people.
Yes.
So they judged you and me not by our skin color, our family background or religion. They looked at you, are you good at what you do? If you are, then promote you in what you do. That's a very simplistic approach,
Yep.
but it worked. And that's why they were able to hold on to land for so long, because they looked at the people, they said, okay, you guys are good at building things. We're gonna give you everything you need to build stuff, and this is what you're gonna be doing. That's why when Sultan Mehmed Fatih, we call him Mehmed the Conqueror,
Yes.
came to Constantinople, he did not raise, he didn't do anything. What he did, he organized the city into guilds. First thing. And in this, there were over 500 guilds to do with archery. Fletchers, arrowsmiths, bow makers, string makers, all the different things. And then in 1453, I believe, don't call me,
Yeah.
Murad the first or second, Murad II formed something called Okçular Vakfi. Okçular means arrow field. And he gave this field to the archers forever, until the day of judgment, they say. So they say this area is not allowed to be touched by any government or anything. This is purely for archers forever. And until this day, it's a multi-million-dollar complex in Turkey. It was revived. They have an outdoor 120-meter range, underground 60-meter range, and a big kitchen feeds everyone who comes. Cafe, and then they have a museum, a mosque, and a lodge. We call tekke. It's like a lodge for where people go to share wisdom, to better themselves as human beings. So the Turks, when they taught archery, the first thing they did is something called kepaze. Kepaze is drawing of the empty bow, meaning a very light bow, probably 20 pound. They used to be mainly made from sinew and wood, no horn. And they said you have to do kepaze on each hand 600 times before you touch an arrow. So why 600 and why on each hand? That's how they taught muscle memory. And on each hand they said to me 3 reasons. They said balance. If one shoulder is heavier than the other, it will cause injury. And if one shoulder is heavier than the other, it will cause overtime inaccuracy. And you can relate because you are Olympic archer.
Yes.
You understand.
Yes.
And third, they said a left-handed shot, if you're right-handed, if a left-handed shot may save your life.
Yes.
Meaning you're on horseback, because Turks shot not just on ground, on horseback. You can't shoot on this side easily because you have an animal between and the neck is here. It's awkward to turn because you are locked. Your horse becomes your legs.
That's right.
So you can't turn. You switch your bow and you take the shot if you need to. So after kepaze, they start on something called torba. Torba shooting is only done at a very short range, about 3 meters.
Yep, done.
So it's done at 3 meters. And the point of torba shooting, this is so because in the past knowledge was passed from knee to knee. What does it mean knee to knee? Literally the student would sit in front of his teacher and touch his knees against him. So they would be so intimate, there's no chance for mistake. The teacher would keep an eye on him so closely. When he would relay the knowledge, he would read his face. If he understood, if he didn't understand, it's a different, it's kind of a mentorship. In archery they apply the same thing. There was a student and a teacher. That's why there's a lodge. On torba is the first interaction between student and teacher in terms of spiritual guidance. Because in archery, archer has to have 2 principal traits. Patience is number 1. 2 is, the Turks call it taqwa. Taqwa means, if I was to translate it, dedication. They explain it as so that your hand, eye and heart doesn't waver from the target. So your soul is focused solely on one thing. Here taqwa also refers to a spiritual side, meaning seeking the acceptance of God Almighty. So this is because it's very Islamic, and it has an Islamic spin on it. They then go into Sufism, mysticism, Sufism, and spiritual world, where they talk about the oneness of God and so on. And this is where you explain the worst enemy of archery, which is pride. When you become proud. Here in Torba, it's a difficult thing for proud people to shoot this close. You have to break yourself, like break your
We see this a
ego.
lot in modern archery too. People want to shoot further and further away.
Why? I can hit this, I'll go back. Yes, you can hit this, but what's the measure of your hitting? In Torba you have to hit 3 arrows that are touching. They used a dime in Turkey, or dirham. Because in the past they were gold and silver currencies, okay? The silver currencies were slightly bigger than the gold, and it was about 5-cent coin, or a large nail, or similar. They had to hit 3 arrows into the dime, or hitting an arrow that's touching the dime at this distance. Then you would be competent, and as we said, there are meritocracy. Then you would be competent to go beyond this range. And they say pride creeps up on you like a black ant on a black stone on a black night. Your pride, your ego, it creeps up. You don't notice it, and you will see in Torba physically people will start to creep, and they don't notice it. You will have a line, and then one guy like this and another guy back, and then you tell them this is a manifestation, because arrow doesn't lie. We say arrow doesn't lie, so it's a manifestation in the physical of the spiritual, which is beautiful, because you see a lot of the penny drops moments with people. They're like, oh, you actually caught myself doing this. So it's really rewarding as a teacher, but also as a student. So ultimately, in the East, archery starts with ok. For example, I'm from the Balkans. For example, in West, archery starts with arc. The word arc comes from the word arcos in Latin. Yes, and it means bow. And in West, generally, the bow was treated as a tool. It was treated like the arc. In East, in China, Japan, Korea, everything starts with the arrow. When you say archery, you say arrow throwing. You don't say archery. Correct?
Yes.
Like in my language, you say streli charstvo. Streli means arrow casting.
Yes.
Or in Turkish, ok çuluk, the arrow, the art of arrow throwing. Yes?
Yes.
It's just like East and West. There's a different philosophy. They say I'm a body with a soul. In East they say no, I'm a soul that has a container called body. That's gonna get me to the next journey.
That's true.
So the way that they approach archery isn't like a tool. It's a way to better yourself in your journey to the next life. So because we all believe in a greater existence, yes? So they look at this, how is archery gonna get me there better? So how am I gonna become better human? Through this tool, and not how am I just gonna survive. When they applied the principle of respect to bow, they would kiss it, place it on the forehead. Not only if you didn't have this you wouldn't survive, because you didn't eat, or if you didn't have this you wouldn't protect yourself from your enemies trying to get you. It was also because this is the path to salvation in many factors. That's why in Islam the Prophet said between the archer and his target is a strip of paradise. Does this mean this is a strip of literal paradise? No, it means the way to paradise is by walking between collecting your arrows and shooting them again. Meaning, I will become a better human being by implementing this practice to its core values, which is patience, focus, and dedication. That's why the Persian said, teach your children 3 things before the age of 7. How to wrestle, how to cast an arrow, and how to tell the truth. And if they had these 3 principles at 7 years old, they were well on the way of becoming men. I mean men as in good humans. Men, when we refer to men, we don't mean female, male. Men means good human beings. Like you're a good human being. It doesn't matter where, how, or when. It's about being good. Yeah, on the right path. After Torba, if you're confident, you go to Puta. And they say you should shoot about 7 arrows out of 9 in a 60 meter or 70 meter target. And then after that it becomes Kemankesh. Kemankesh specializes in one of the disciplines. So archer should have 3 traits in terms of 3 branches: speed, power, precision. I think you mentioned, we talked on YouTube, I think you made an interesting comment.
Yeah.
So precision means, in Torba we start with grouping. Torba we go consistency. We as Muslims, we pray 5 times a day. And when I'm gonna pray, it's like meditating for us, okay? It's very similar. Thank you. Thank you. I'll pass.
Yeah?
I'll pass, thank you.
So, to relate, it's like Torba. When I'm shooting 3 arrows per target, I'm looking for consistency before I look for accuracy. In my prayer, I try to pray on time 5 times a day before I try to meditate in my prayer. So get consistency before you get accuracy, which is how far you are from your target. Then you start with precision. That's when you really meditate and you taste the sweetness of that moment when you are like there, present, bang, you know? And that's when you are one. It's the same in archery.
Yes.
It's very spiritual. Then, after this, we go to Tor, and then we're talking about the 3 branches. So you have precision, speed, power. So without precision, you don't hit target. Without speed, you are exposed because they will shoot you before you shoot them. When I was in Turkey, because I have a compound background, I pull back the bow, and if it's not right, I bring it back. Normal. They pull back, even if it doesn't feel right, they release. And I'm like, what? Can I just comment on that? Because won't you? He goes, yes, but to us, it's a martial art. So harassing the enemy is more important.
Yes.
Even if you shoot an arrow, he's going to be careful.
Yes.
That's your defense. Keeping that constant pressure, offense is best defense.
Yes.
Keeps them at bay. And I was like, wow, interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Yes.
So speed is a part of defense. Meaning if you are constantly barraging, laying down enemy fire, they are not going to flinch. They're going to stay behind and not come out.
Yes. Yes.
That's what speed is. So that's defense.
Yes.
So movement is one thing, but keeping the pressure on is the real defense of the archer. We don't wear armor, but our arrows become our armor.
Yes.
That's why they say when you shoot so much, it blocks out the sun.
Yes. Yes.
It literally does.
Yes.
Because they send so much firepower, so many arrows downrange that it's ridiculous. It's been mentioned that a Seljuk archer in a Crusader manual, he had arrows in his boot, quiver, side quiver, and in his hair, turban.
Yes.
He stuck arrows. And when they said he fired them in a few minutes, all of them, he released them. And then that was his strafe. He would come in, release, go collect more arrows, come in, release, go collect more arrows.
Yes.
That's how they worked.
Yes.
Because they would fire thousands and thousands. And power. Now power comes in a way that when you talk about power, you talk about heavy bows, but it's not just that. It's your technique of releasing properly.
Yes.
With the correct hatras, with the correct straightening sooner than later. And not letting your bow do all the work, but you actually straightening your arrow sooner. And I know there's a lot of people who talk about this. The manifestation of power archery comes in flight. So when you are shooting flight with a zipper and heavy bows comes to mind. Yeah? So you're shooting heavy bow and you have to have perfect technique.
Yes.
And you will see people with 80 pounders out shooting people with 110 pounders.
Yes.
And you will ask yourself, does it make sense? Because it's not just equipment.
Yes.
It's your technique.
Yes.
It's how you shoot. So there's that aspect.
Yes.
Second one, speed. Horse archery. So a lot of horse archers, they only focus on speed today.
Yes.
Or some trick shooters, like very famous Lars.
We know somebody. Yeah.
very, very fast.
Very fast.
But he shoots very light bow.
Yes.
Yeah. The point is, he's a trick shooter.
Yes.
That's his.
Yes. It's his specialty.
Area, his specialty. That's fine.
Yeah.
He has his specialty.
Yes.
And you know, he's done great things in many ways.
Yes, of course.
Because he's promoted
absolutely
hype.
Yeah.
And then of course target archery is precision.
Precision, nothing but precision.
Nothing but
no speed, no power.
But the complete archer is the one who has 3.
That's right.
On the battlefield, and because we look at archery like martial art, he's complete. That's why Kemankesh means complete archer. And then when you are a complete archer, you get the kabza, meaning the grip of the bow to the from master to student, and there's a ceremony. So you get together, you recite certain verses, food is served, and then it's kind of it's like master apprentice
Yes.
scenario, like
Yes.
any martial art.
Because
And then the archer's secret is recited to his ear. Now, according to many scholars, the archer's secret is a verse from the Quran, meaning وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. It's not you who throws the arrow, even though you think you are throwing. It is not you who threw the arrow. It is God who created the throw, the hit, and the breaking of the target. Because they used to shoot at clay pots,
yes,
and if the clay pot didn't break properly, it's not considered a hit.
yes,
So it had to be a perfectly straight arrow.
yes,
So that's where the putta comes from, the
Yes.
shape, from the clay. So that's here philosophy. Even though you are practicing to perfection, sometimes you will miss.
yes,
That's why we say talent pulls the bow, destiny releases the arrow. Yeah? So this is highly spiritual aspect of archery that we don't have here in Australia. That's what drove us to open this club here in Melbourne.
Yes,
And Brother Omar is the key to this. He's the president. So he's opening this club because there's a gap in the community, and like you said, there's a lot of ignorance
yes,
there. But we say, like, there's 5 things you need for archery. You need a bow, your string, your arrow, your zihgir, and the kemankish, the archer.
yes,
Without the archer, if we have the equipment, if we don't have the art, then everything is lost.
yes,
So the art is the most important, and we never mock other archers.
absolutely.
You know, even though the thumb is bigger than the index in the ring. I'm joking. But no, it's
It's all
honestly,
respect.
it's all about
It's all
respect.
respect.
You have to respect and share and learn.
Yes.
Two-way. I hope this is alright.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
this has been even just this conversation
Yeah,
has
yeah.
really opened a lot about the spirituality of
So
archery.
important, yeah.
It's been absolutely amazing to hear that.
And it's not just for Muslims.
Yes,
It's like
for everybody.
across the board. Human beings.
Absolutely.
If you want to become better human being, that's why when they ask William Hill, famous archer,
Yes.
he was by us. He's considered complete. He had
Howard
speed.
Hill?
Howard,
Howard
yeah,
Hill, yes.
Howard. No, William. He was the one, like a reviver of the sport.
Yes.
Modern. He's
Yeah.
the revival of modern recurve.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. He pioneered the modern recurve.
He was complete archer. He had speed, precision, and power.
Yes.
But when they asked him, because he shot pretty much any animal that was living on this planet,
Yes.
except dinosaurs because they were extinct.
Yeah.
But he would have shot
He
one
would've-
if it was around.
Absolutely.
He was amazing hunter.
Yes.
And he shot heavy bows. He was powerful, you know, great guy. But interesting thing that they asked him, what do you think about when you aim? What do you think in your head when you are drawing that bow? He said, I'm looking at an animal that's savage, ferocious animal, and I'm thinking kill, kill, kill. So he's channeling his inner survival sense. This is where we stop in agreement with William Hill because we respect him, his archery and the way he shot. But when we look at target, we don't look at it that way. It's a reflection of myself. So my fear, my greed, and I'm trying to hit or connect with the target. That's why when we aim, we connect. Where we connect is where the target is, and that's also the aspect of directional knocking. So when we are directional knocking, all I worried about is, let's say, if I'm afraid, if I'm scared of a horse, if I'm scared of my job or my money or losing things, then you disconnect for that, because archery is the art of the empty mind. If I'm here, I'm thinking about my kids. Are they gonna be on time? Are they gonna have anything to eat?
Yes.
My archery is not here.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
But if my mind is empty and I'm meditating in my sport, then I will connect. If I'm thinking about my draw or I'm holding my thumb or how my stance is, I lose. I won't be good. But if I just let it flow, then it comes.
Yes.
And you can relate because you are a archer for a long time.
We are archers as well, same
Yeah.
thing. We can't be distracted by things in our mind. You
Exactly.
push everything out. In Olympic archery, we always want to score. Score haunts us.
Yes.
It's like a spirit which watches over us, and we think, oh, the last arrow was only an 8, and we were stressed about the next arrow.
Yes.
We would tell ourselves,
Only as good as your last arrow.
yeah,
as they say.
we say, shoot the arrow, not the score. Clear
So-
it. It's done. The arrow's been shot. You can't take it back.
But a lot of people get lost because they lose their mind in the gold.
Yes.
They go crazy
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
And that's opposite of the philosophy of archers.
Yes.
Because the point isn't the goal
Yes.
here.
Yes.
It's a reflection of yourself.
Yes.
That's the point.
Yes.
So the key of archery and the key to philosophy and our kids
Yes.
is to teach them something that there's something called pride and how to combat pride. There's something called fear, how
Yes.
to combat fear. Because fear, you are not born brave.
Yes.
You learn how to be brave.
Yes.
That's why when you jump into water, you start 1 meter and go 1,
Yes, yes.
2, 3, till you get to 10 and more. Go gradual. Fear is something you conquer. It's not inbred, it's not born. Yeah?
Yes.
So the same with archery. You conquer your fear, you conquer your greed,
Yes.
you learn how to be better than you.
Anything,
Yes.
And that's the whole philosophy.
Manure based. What's really
I can't disagree. That's
Yeah, I
absolutely
know.
true. No, absolutely. And we see it so much
Any
too.
archer, yeah.
Yeah, in any archery style, you know, things like fear, pride especially, it's something which a lot of people struggle to deal with. And I deal with that too. I have to work
All
with
of
people
us,
who
yeah.
are shooting too heavy, too far, too fast. But you're not shooting, you're not really doing archery.
Yeah.
You're throwing arrows, but you're not really doing